Cape Cod Broadcasting weaves the listening environments of 99.9 WQRC, Ocean 104.7, WFCC Classical 107.5, Cape Country 104, and CapeCon.com's website experience to reflect the lifestyles of the people who live, work, and play on Cape Cod. We hope that you enjoy this podcast.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. I'm here in the studio with Adam Berry, executive producer and co-founder of Peregrine Theatre Ensemble in Provincetown, which is a relatively new theater company in Provincetown. Adam, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's start with the history of Peregrine Theatre. As I mentioned, it's a relatively new organization. Tell me how you got started.
We founded Peregrine Theatre Ensemble 3 years ago. My husband, Ben, my friend Tessa, and Jake, our friend Jake, and we all went to school for theater. And a few years back, Tessa and Ben were heavily involved in Shakespeare on the Cape, which was a Shakespeare company. They went to school at the Guthrie in Minnesota. And I went to school at the Boston Conservatory, and we had been working in Provincetown in theater for different companies and organizations for about, at that time, about 10 years, exactly. And we basically got tired of saying, I wish people would do these shows, or like, I wish they would do this show or that show. And we took the leap. We launched and decided to create our own company and bring theater back to the birthplace of modern American theater, You decided to do it your way.
Of course. And how did you decide on the name? Where did the name come from?
That's interesting. We wanted a name that actually fit Provincetown and fit the Cape, but could also be used elsewhere. And so we were racking our brain about, Tip of the Cape, or we didn't want to steal any names like Provincetown Theater, obviously, or like Susan Glaspell Theater. So the name Peregrine is from Peregrine White, which was the first baby that was born in the Mayflower when it was docked in the harbor. And to us, it is about new beginnings, new adventures. Peregrine White became very successful. I think he opened a law school. He had a bunch of children. He died when he was 83. He actually conquered something that was completely, frightening, really. And so that name for us, symbolizes hope and new beginnings and everything that I just said. But it's also a name that we can take with us because it means traveler. It means pilgrim. I think it's a wonderful name.
And it's a tip of the hat, too, that Provincetown was actually the first landing place for the Pilgrims. Some people think it was Plymouth, and people in Provincetown know that's actually where they landed first. So you're sort of paying an homage to that history as well. Now, it sounds like the three founders are all professional actors. Are you all professionals, or how does that work?
Well, we went to school for theater, and we do it. That's what we're trying to do for a living. We have all worked in the theater industry in many, many different ways. We all have different strengths. We've all been actors. We've all been producers. We've all been set designers and costume makers. We do it all, but we at this point, there's four of us running an entire company. So it can be really exciting, and there's a lot of hard work. But we are finding that we love what we're doing, and we welcome anyone that helps us. We have a bunch of volunteers now. We have people that show up that really want to work or help us. We have interns from high schools from around the Cape that come, and they assist us backstage and with everything. So it's definitely a group effort.
Now, you wear a lot of hats, and, of course, as you entered here today, one of our staffers here recognized you from television. Why don't you tell us about that hat you wear?
I was on a TV show called Ghost Hunters on the Sci-Fi Channel, and I did that for about 5 years, and it was very, very exciting. And during that time, we started this company, and so a lot on my plate. But I have a big stomach, I guess, and I'll eat it all.
Now, back to the Peregrine. Where is the theater's home? Where are you based?
This year, we are based at the old Provincetown High School. It's at 12 Winslow Street. It's across from where you would go to the Pilgrim Monument. Last year, we were at the Provincetown Theater, and the year before that, we were at the Provincetown Inn. So that traveler aspect of our name really plays into this. We picked our venue because we're doing Carrie the Musical. It's a high school musical of sorts, and we said, what better way to involve our audience into the world that we're trying to create than putting them actually in a high school and into that space. And so that show is there. Our Tennessee Williams is there. Our drama camp for kids is there. So really it becomes this satellite base for our theater company.
We're going to talk about all those different projects and everything that's on the boards this summer. But this is now your third year. Mm-hmm. How have your two past seasons gone?
Well, the first year was we were getting our feet wet. So the first year was all about getting our name out there, getting the community involved in what we were doing. And so we did a series of concerts throughout the summer. We premiered a Eugene O'Neill play called Exorcism, which was our very first play that we ever did. It was actually written in Provincetown and newly discovered at the time. And we did a Kennedy Center type honors concert where we sang songs and did performances from shows that we had been in the past 13 years with everyone from town. We did a concert version of Jesus Christ Superstar, and we ended our season by doing Blythe Spirit at What. We rented that space and did our show there. And so that really was a testing ground for our audience, like what is the material that we want to do, what do we want to pursue. And it was very successful. And the following year, last year actually, we did the Pulitzer Prize winning musical Rent, and we did Shakespeare's Hamlet. And in rep, by the way. So 3 days a week was Rent, and 2 days a week was Hamlet, and it was great. I mean, the show itself is both of those shows people want to see and they want to go to, much like this season. And it was the first time that we were able to bring in students from other colleges. We had about 9 people from NYU and different universities around New England who major in musical theater, and they wanted to come to Provincetown, spend a summer in one of the most beautiful places on earth, in my opinion, and do really amazing theater. And it's something I don't think Provincetown has seen in a really long time.
Sounds like you've already been successful, even though you're just getting started. I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. I'm talking to Adam Berry from Peregrine Theatre Ensemble in Provincetown. And let's get right into what's on the boards this summer. Tell us about your shows going on right now.
We are extremely excited about the summer that's happening. I mean, we opened Carrie the Musical. I know, what? Carrie the Musical, what? They made a musical out of Carrie, the Stephen King novel? Yes, they did, you guys. It was on Broadway in the 80s, and it starred Betty Buckley, and we have acquired the rights to a version that they produced and rewrote, and it was off Broadway. So they kind of revamped it after it was on Broadway. They did it off Broadway, and we were able to take that version. We have a connection with the writer, one of the writers, Lawrence Cohen, and we were able to combine a few different scripts from different versions from that have been done in the past year, and we were able to create our own sort of new version of something that was produced off-Broadway. So we're doing Carrie the Musical. It is not scary, by the way. I mean, there's frightening moments. Obviously, it has to be the movie, but it's really about bullying. And it's bullying is an issue that is it's a hot-button issue right now.
That's what's so interesting about you doing this show because, and of course, people know the horror movie, the Stephen King book, turned into the horror movie, but what's at the core is the bullying, which is so much in the news now, and so much more so with social media. Oh. And I understand you take that, you look at it from a modern perspective as well.
Right, correct. I mean, it's about high school now. It is about bullying. It is about being different and accepting that you're different and coming to terms with that. I mean, these kids are so mean to her in this play. I mean, I'm in the show. And I am so mean. I just want to say I am so mean, and it's
we know it's acting.
Yeah, exactly. We know it's acting. I take all of my aggressions from the day out on poor Carrie White. But it's a lot of different things, and you see her struggle through what's happening, and you see her really overcome that. And there is the sci-fi element, which I enjoy, obviously, of her having this like weird, strange power, but the power represents, it represents finding who she really is, and Stephen King chose to make it into this supernatural element, really.
This wasn't exactly a hit on Broadway, but it's become a cult classic.
Oh, yeah. It's a huge cult following. I mean, the music is amazing. We have about 13 people in our cast right now from musical theater universities, NYU, Wagner College, Marymount, and Boston Conservatory. They are so talented. These kids are going to be on Broadway next year. I mean, come on. They'll just skip the rest of their school year. Some of them have just graduated. And our director, Christopher Betts, is in my opinion, a genius. He is a young guy. He's like 23, 24 years old. He directed Carrie the Musical at NYU Tisch. He submitted his resume came with a recommendation from the writers, and we asked him to direct this show, and he does a brilliant job utilizing the space that you're in. You come into the school to see the show. There are lockers surrounding you. You can go through each kid's locker, find out more about them. Carrie's composition notebook diary that's in her locker is really intense and interesting to get to know about her. You see the show in an auditorium that's vast, and we've created this space that you really feel like you are in the middle of this action. And then at intermission, you get to vote for prom king and queen. So whatever happens is your fault. And people are like, oh, I know the ending. I'm like, do you? Who are you voting for? Who are you voting for?
You've made it very interactive.
Exactly.
And of course, people. What I've seen online, you've gotten great reviews, and audience reaction has been terrific.
Thank you. Yeah, people leave love. They just want to talk about it, and people come to me days later and online and through social media, and they're still talking about it, and they're bringing their friends, and they're experiencing this world, because we've all been Carrie White at some point. We've all been Chris Hargensen, the mean girl of the school. I mean, maybe we're not proud about those moments, but we can relate to everyone in the show.
And very fun to have the venue at the high school, which unfortunately, as many of our listeners know, closed a few years ago. And so you're kind of bringing life back into the old high school.
Yeah. And, the school is a baccalaureate middle school now. Dr. Beth Singer is the superintendent. And when this opportunity to be in the space came about, she is very supportive. The school is very supportive. The school committee is very supportive. We are, like you said, we're breathing life into this space, and we're getting people from the community to visit the school, and some haven't even been there since they've graduated.
It sounds like a really fun show. Now let's talk about the Tennessee Williams plays.
Yes. So we are doing 2 Tennessee Williams plays. We've titled it Blue Dusk, Gay Plays by Tennessee Williams, and the 2 one-act plays are And Tell Sad Stories of the Deaths of Queens, which is about an aging 35-year-old drag queen who lives in the French Quarter in the 1950s. And in much like a Tennessee Williams play, there's a saucy sailor that comes in, and there's drama, and it's more of a comedy than anything, which I find amazing. And Tennessee Williams was writing it in the 50s, so I mean, it's way ahead of its time.
And of course, he has a big connection to Provincetown.
Of course, and which brings me to the second one act, which is called The Parade, or Approaching the End of a Summer. It is loose. It's autobiographical, really. It was a play that was discovered about 10 or 11 years ago, premiered in Provincetown at the Tennessee Williams Festival. My husband, Ben, played the Tennessee Williams character in that, and it was produced by Shakespeare in the Cape and the Tennessee Williams Festival. They are bringing it back again for the 10-year anniversary, so we're doing it at the festival again this year, and it's basically about one of Tennessee's summers in Provincetown at the very end, where he has fallen in love, and it's really it's straight out of a diary, really. I mean, that's basically, and it gives you an insight of what Tennessee Williams was dealing with in that time period and in his life. And it's really moving to see someone write so eloquently about a topic that was never talked about, you know?
And then, of course, you have actress and Tony Award winner Betty Buckley coming in for a talk on September 2nd, and then a 2-night concert. Tell me about those.
I can't even handle it. So basically, Betty Buckley was the star of Carrie the Musical. She rave reviews in the Broadway show, and everyone went to see it for her and the girl who played Carrie. And so Betty Buckley is coming September 2nd to see our production of Carrie the Musical and do a talk back after the show. And then the following 2 nights, on September 3rd and 4th, she is doing a concert at our venue. She's doing songs from her newest album, Ghostlight, produced by T-Bone Burnett, and she's doing songs from her musical theater repertoire. She is an unbelievable legend, in my opinion. She's an icon. She was the gym teacher in Carrie the movie for that famous slap to Chris Hargensen.
So that's the connection with Carrie, and she'll be giving this talk on September 2nd. She'll probably talk about filming the movie and so forth.
I mean, she has to. The movie and the musical are both very cult classics, and she is a distinct part of that. You know, her career has spanned TV, film. She was the mother on Stepmom, I guess, on 8 is Enough, right? And she's won a Tony for Cats, and she is. We cannot wait to pick her brain during that Q&A to find out, you know, the tidbits. And I know she has some really great stories, which she's kind of told me a little bit of. But, you know, I want her to save it for the night because it's going to be so amazing.
A theater icon coming to Provincetown. Now, in the last couple minutes, let's give listeners an overview of what's on the boards right now at Peregrine, the dates and times, and how you get tickets.
So what's on the boards? Monday through Wednesday is Carrie the Musical. It's at 7 p.m. And on Thursdays and Fridays, it's Blue Dusk, Gay Plays by Tennessee Williams, also at 7 p.m. All of these shows, Carrie closes September 9th, so you can see Carrie Monday through Wednesday until September 9th. Blue Dusk closes September 18th, Thursdays and Fridays. You can get tickets by calling the box office at 774-538-9084. Or you can buy them online at peregrinetheatre.com. Also, the Betty Buckley shows are you can get them online and for the box office, and those dates are September 2nd for the Carrie the Musical and Talkback, as well as her concerts on the 3rd and 4th. We have package deals, so if you buy those tickets together, they're obviously discounted a little bit. And we just want people to come out to the tip of the Cape. I know, me driving to Orleans is like going to Egypt, but let's make it happen, guys. It's summertime. Get out of the house. When we were complaining that it was cold, now it's beautiful.
Now it's beautiful and a great time to go to the Outer Cape. And unfortunately, we're out of time. I've been talking to Adam Berry from Peregrine Theatre Ensemble in Provincetown. Thank you so much, Adam, for being here with me today.
Thank you very much.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal.
This podcast is a presentation of Cape Cod Broadcasting, which is solely responsible for its content. Thank you for listening. For more information, please visit us at capecodbroadcasting.com.